Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ben. Hope you're doing well. So I wanted to go and do a quick rig rundown. Quite a few of you have asked me to go through what I'm using on a Sunday in our videos. So I wanted to do a quick rundown of my church rig that I'm using right this moment. Doesn't mean that it won't change in the future because, hey, let's face it, we're guitar players and pedals change out on our boards. But right now, I've actually been using this board for 5, 6, maybe even longer months. So this has been pretty constant for the last good while at least. All the videos that you hear on YouTube, it's all been through this board. So it's at least been that long. All right, so let's get started and I'll do a quick rig rundown. All right, so if we take a look at the board, you'll notice I've got a Dunlop. This is a Dunlop Mini X volume pedal. I have a TC Electronic Polytune 2, the mini version of it. Then I've got a custom shop JHS pedal. On this side, it's got a Morning Glory, and on this side, it has a Superbolt. And then this is a J-Rocket Audio Design 45 caliber. This is a J-Rocket Audio Design The Dude. And then I've got a Strymon Dig, an Eventide H9, and a Strymon Big Sky. Now, the one thing you don't see underneath here is I've got a compressor that I have on just as kind of like a little boost, and it's the Exotic SP compressor. All right, and then if we take a look at the board real quick, you'll see that I've got a patch bay right here in the camera. So it's set up to where I have my input on the side jack and my outputs on the side as well. It's set up for stereo, left and right, but obviously I only have 1 amp here at the house. Right now, my other one's at church, so it's going to be running mono. Let's see, there we go. So it's going to be running mono. All right, so the amp that I'm running through here at the house is different from what I have at church. What I have at church is a Carr Imperial, that's C-A-R-R Imperial. It's basically, from what I can take it, it's their take on a Fender Bassman. Got an amazing clean tone. I love the clean. It also grits up pretty well too, but at the church, I have it set purely clean, so it's a pedal platform. But here at the house, I have a Morgan RV35. It's actually the first RV35 Joe made. I've known of Joe for a while and talked to him personally back in the day, and this was an amp that he put together. He had just started doing it. He had built his RCA 35. And I had called him and asked him if, hey, could you do that with Reverb? And he said, yeah, I'd already been thinking about it, and I'll put it together. So here we go, RV35, which is now a production model. Kind of cool. So it's been my main studio amp at the house for many, many, many years. It's just an amazing pedal platform as well. All right, okay, let's get started. So we'll go through the signal chain super fast. All right, so the first thing in line for me is this JHS pedal. So everything comes in from the side here, and the wires all come up to here. So this is the first pedal in line. Then it goes to the 45 caliber into the Dude, and then out from the Dude, it goes all the way back around to my volume pedal. So I have found that if you put your dirt before your volume pedal and all your effects after your volume pedal, you can control volume swells when you have dirt and effects turned on much better. Like if you try to put your volume pedal before dirt, and then just have dirt flowing into your effects with nothing in between, I've just found that it gets super muddy. So if you've got yours set up that way, maybe try throwing your volume pedal after your overdrives and distortion pedals and before your effects, and I think you may really like the results. Okay, so to get started, we'll go with a clean tone. So what I'm using today is what you've seen on most of the videos. It's my handy dandy James Tyler black classic level 3 guitar. Love this guitar. It's my main guitar. It is a Super Strat with a few extra special options on it. So this guitar is set up, I'll try to get it here. This guitar is set up where it's got a few different things on it. It's got a mid-boost preamp here. Get this out of the way. So this little knob is associated with mid-boost preamp. So I do have in the back a 9-volt battery set up, because there's an active preamp inside it that is controlled by this knob here. And this button right here, which is hard to see on this black, is engages or disengages that mid-boost preamp. So also on this guitar. Maybe hard to see, but it's got a row of 3 buttons right here. So these buttons correspond to the 3 pickups. Now each pickup can be in parallel or series. So by clicking these buttons in and out, it changes from parallel to series wiring. So mine are in parallel all the time, except for the middle pickup I have in series just because I like the way it cleans up. So like this is my clean tone first off with the Morgan, nothing going on. That's the neck pickup. Here's position 4. So that's in series. Now we put it in parallel. Darkens up a little bit, but so I like the kind of bright series. The middle, position 2, and the bridge. All right. So that's my clean tone. So let's go started with the actual going through the pedals. So the first thing in line for me is the Morning Glory, which is pretty much an always on pedal, just because I like the sound of the Morning Glories. So that's on the bridge pickup. So it's got a little bit of dirt to it. If I pick lightly, it cleans up. Right, dig into it. Just a little bit of hair on it. On the neck pickup, stays pretty well clean because it's not as hot as that humbucking bridge. So that's pretty much my clean tone, is my amp at church or here, and then the Morning Glory. All right, so that's pedal 1, my Morning Glory. Let's see, drive is about 11 o'clock, tone is about 1 o'clock, and volume, well, it's set to unity. Okay, so that was the Morning Glory. Like I said, this is my always on pedal. All right, so the next pedal in this custom box is a Super Bolt. Now, I use a Super Bolt when I need to have a little bit more cutting crunch sound. So the Super Bolt is very bright when added in with the Morning Glory than my normal standard sound. Normally, I'm a very, a little bit darker, more mid-rangey kind of guy because of the guys that I grew up, listening to and patterning myself after, people like, Steve Lukather, Andy Timmons, Neil Shaw, and some of these guys. Much more round sound than that super cutting. But sometimes, you need to cut. So if I cut the Thunderbolt on, it gets really bright, especially like on the bridge pickup. Okay, so it's really bright. So I use that when I need, or when I feel that I'm not cutting enough. So if I need to brighten things up, I'll kick the Super Bolt on instead of my 45. All right, great pedal. I've got the drive pretty low and the tone back pretty low. Like I said, it's a very bright pedal. So if I cut the tone up, it's really... really bright and cutting. So I kind of, keep it around, 12 for that cutting sound, okay? So my main overdrive sound is this J-Rocket Audio Design 45 caliber. So this pedal is basically a Marshall, it's mainly designed after the JTM 45 from Marshall. So it's got that, I wouldn't say it's, super gainy, but it's got that real, great Marshall crunch. And which I don't have the gain super high on this because I mix it with my Morning Glory to get that sound. So like if I'm on the bridge pickup, so you hear this one's much, darker sounding than the Super Bolt. All right, and then to the 45. Real Marshall-y, mid-rangey, bass. So that's my main crunch sound. Love this pedal. Like if I turn the Morning Glory off, sometimes I will, just because that's a great song, sound by itself. Neck pickup. But usually it's going to be paired with a Morning Glory because, like I said earlier, it's pretty much always on. So that's my main crunch. That's neck, bridge. All right, great pedal. I love these. So these Rocket pedals are from their Tour series. They have much, this one, I don't know if it has a bigger brother. I don't think so. This one may just be the 45 caliber and that's it. So the Tour series pedals are much smaller footprint, as you can see. Super robust, designed to be on touring rigs. They're rock solid. They're great pedals. All right, so the next one, which is my main solo sound, is the Dude. Now, the Dude is basically, I think, based upon a Dumble sound. Which you don't know what Dumbles are, you can Google them. Dumble amplifiers, they're crazy, ridiculously expensive. 100 grand for one. Of their Overdrive specials. Mayer has them, and a bunch of the bigger guys. They're crazy expensive. But they have that really warm overdrive distortion sound. So that's why everybody loves them and tries to make pedals that sound like them. So this is the Dude. So this is my main overdrive sound, or lead sound. All right, so even though it's pretty overdriven, you still get plenty of clarity. All right. If I roll my volume pedal back, or volume knob back on my guitar, that's on bridge. If I switch to like the 4th position, that's with my volume pot rolled back, and then back up on 10. So that's that real stratty, out of phase sound with that between the neck and the middle pickup and series instead of parallel. Just love that sound. And then neck. All right, so that is my main lead tone. Again with the bridge. All right, so that's my main lead tone. Morning Glory and the Dude. All right, so that's my dirt section. Morning Glory, Thunderbolt, 45 caliber, and the Dude. So let's move on to effects. So this is my first effects unit that I have here. It's the Strymon Dig, which is Strymon's dual digital delay. So it's got a main mix knob here. It's got the mix 2 knob, repeats, time, and then time 2. So what time 2 is you can change it to, quarter notes, dotted 8, 16ths, whatever, which controls the second of the 2 digital delays. This time knob and the tap tempo controls all of it, but yeah, this time knob is mainly for that one. So this is also a modulation style pedal. So I use this one as my main, if I'm just using a delay in clean tones or whatever, this one will be on with the deep setting. So the mod has off, light, and deep. I leave mine on deep because it kind of reminds me of the Electro Harmonics Deluxe Mirror Man. So you hear the chorusy sound. Just kind of waves in like a chorus pedal. So that's my main delay, just if I'm just doing clean stuff. Obviously I have some reverb, but we're not there yet. So Strymon Dig, great all-around pedal that I pretty much have set up to tap into any song that we're doing, and the modulation is just a clean, like a Deluxe Mirror Man. And then with it on, you hear the modulation. So if we turn it off, it's just 2 digital delays with no mod, and then light. A little bit of modulation there, but I like the deep because it reminds me of my Deluxe Mirror Man, which is just too big to fit on a pedal board because it would take up pretty much these 2 spots. It's a great delay pedal, but it's huge. All right, so that's the Dig. All right, now this beast is the Eventide H9. So it can be a bunch of different things at one time. So this little piece here that you see with these two knob buttons down here is a add-on pedal called a Barn 3, which plugs into the Expression plug in here in the back, and it controls up and down for me instead of having to do the whole, you know, press 2 mess that you have to do without it. So that sends it up and down. So I really only use the first 9 settings in a live venue. You know, if in the studio, obviously you can tweak it, you know, to your heart's desire, and I will do that if I'm doing any session work, because you can get all kind of crazy sounds out of it. But for live stuff, I use the first 9. So the first one is called Huge, you know, because it's got this really big open sound. So it's got 2 delays going in as well as a pitch effect to give it almost that modulation sound, but not quite, a little different. So it's got some decent trail to it. So that's the first one. And then dotted eighth, let's see, I don't know what this is going to be set to. Right, you know, just goofing off right there. But so that's the traditional, you know, well, you got to have the dotted eighth in praise and worship music, right? So that's dotted eighth. This is rhythm. This is basically the same thing, dotted eighth of the quarter note dialed back really, really low, just to get the little extra, yeah. Right. Obviously, that's not tapped into a song tempo, so it may not be exactly the way you would hear it, you know, live, because it's not tapped into any song. But so those are my 2 rhythmic delays. This is Dark Matter. It is a reverb, really washy one. Super long trail, decay. You know, great for volume stuff. It's kind of hard with my hand, but you know, hey. So it's a great sound. And then this is my main solo delay. It's 2 delays, one set at 500 milliseconds, one set at 325 milliseconds. With a decent amount of feedback. And then this is another reverb called Black Hole. A little bit longer decay. Just another ambient style delay, or reverb, sorry. So this one is a tremolo, which is slow. All right, so another thing I use, so this pedal is great, and I'll show you. So there's an app on my iPhone or iPad or whatever that controls it. So if I switch this to fast, you hear the tremolo will. Traditional tremolo. Now it also will tap in, so if I have a song where I have the tremolo on, I just tap it to the BPM of the song, and the tremolo pattern matches in with the song. So yeah, this thing is great because I can control this on the fly. Like if you had an iPad set up, which I don't, but I have known some guys who will do that. But like I said, in the studio or whatever, this is awesome because you can change all your settings here. All right, next one is a, shimmer. Exactly what it is. It's just a shimmer reverb. And then the one that I use a lot is the Pog. Right? Got to have a Pog. And then it repeats my original huge and a few other things. But the first 9, like I said, are the ones I use the most. It's a combination of reverbs, delays, tremolo, shimmer, Pog. Stuff that you need that I don't have a bunch of room for on this little itty bitty board to have all those individual effects on. So it works great for me for that. So last but not least is the Strymon Big Sky. So it has 3 presets here, and I pretty much leave it on these 3 at all the time live. In the studio, obviously tweak it, you know, like crazy, like the Eventide here. But so the first one is just a standard plate. Let's try that again without that delay on. Standard plate reverb. And then this one I call versatile because it can kind of work for that real praise and worship reverb sound. Right. It's not too washy, so it kind of works with overdrive. Super versatile reverb. Now this is so B was also a plate setting. C is set to the cloud setting on the Big Sky, which much bigger ambient sound. Just a beautiful reverb. All right, so great ambient sound. But let's say if we get crazy and add in one of the Eventide verbs, it gets even bigger. And if we add in some my standard delay stuff, beautiful, right? Okay, so that didn't work out very well. Like I said, using your hand to volume swell is kind of difficult. But yeah, so that's a perfect ambient moment for me. And I will do that. I'll actually have these 3 guys on, these 2 big reverbs and a delay, and it's a beautiful sound. All right, so let's turn this off and let's go back to like this setting. Like if I was in a praise and worship setting, let's turn that off. There we go. So the versatile works really well, or a lot of times it'll just be this one. So that's really my main, worship sound that has some grit that needed is my Morning Glory and this 45. And then, so a lot of times I'll use this first reverb just because it gets really washy with this one. But you know what? Some songs really call for that, right? So that was with dotted eighth if I use this dig pedal. So that's a great sound. And then solo sound for me is usually this guy and sometimes the B setting or the A setting depending. Yeah, so that or this one. Usually it's A, as you can see, it's not as washy, so it cuts a little bit better than versus notes just cut through better on the standard plate reverb. So usually solo for me is a solo and the plate. And if I feel like it needs to be bigger, I'll switch it over to the versatile. All right. So that's my church board that I use. It's pretty simple, straightforward. It's not too crazy. You know, it's four various overdrive sound and a bunch of options for, because of the Eventide, a bunch of options for my modulation and effect stuff. But main delay, main reverb, and then I use this for, like main solo tones. But, solo, if I happen to not change to it, this one still works just fine. So this one works just as fine for solo stuff too. Which sometimes I will use this one because of the modulation effect that is not on this delay. All right, so there you go. Real quick breakdown. I may be changing out boards in the future to my little bit bigger studio board, just because I like to change things up as we do as guitar players. But this is a wonderful board. This is a travel board for me mainly. Like if I'm out traveling, doing conferences, or playing another church, whatever. If I want to bring an amp and a pedal board, it's the car, the Morgan, and this pedal board. Now I do have a Kemper that I use. If I really want to travel light, I bring my Kemper and the Kemper MIDI pedal board changer, and that's all I'll bring is a guitar and my Kemper. If I want to travel light, then they sound awesome too. But yeah, if I'm going analog, or if I want to bring my Kemper in this, I've run this board through my Kemper as well, and it works perfectly through the Kemper. I just run all the effects stuff in the effects loop of the Kemper, and that's great. Which I would prefer to run all that in the effects loop of an amp, but my Morgan and my car, neither one of them have an effects loop, so it all goes in the front. Is what it is. It sounds great. I prefer that kind of stuff in the effects loop, but it sounds great. Yeah, so there you go. There's my board for those of you who've been asking. Hope this answers some questions. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. Let me know. If I switch boards out, I'll do a much bigger review of the pedal board and go into more depth. I'll have Daniel help me video it. But yeah, so I love these two pedals and the Morning Glory. The Morning Glory I have had on a board since they came out. I love the Morning Glory. They're awesome. I have two of them. This one and my original Morning Glory that's on my bigger board. And then I love these two pedals. I don't have two of them. On my other board, I have a couple of different options. I mean, we're guitar players, right? We have all kind of options. I love the Buffalo TDX. That's one of my new favorite overdrive pedals. Awesome, based upon kind of like an old tube driver, but not as big and not with a tube in it. Have a few Vertex stuff on it as well. But yeah, so this is the board that you hear in all the videos. All right, so if I was gonna, let's see, pull up something like Holy Spirit, which would probably be this guy. So that's my versatile and the dig, and then the Morning Glory and the 45. It's position 4 on my Strat or Tyler. If I go to neck position, so yeah, that's pretty much that clean sound. Like if we go to the C one, this gets bigger. Reverb trail is just a whole lot larger. If we go to the solo sound instead of the dig, it sounds like. So here, so that is, which I wouldn't do it on C, that would have been. Which would, that normally for me, that would be versatile, 45, the Morning Glory, and either the Dig or this guy here. Right, go back to here, switch to the neck position. So if I want to go dirtier, I go to the bridge instead of neck. Right? So there you go. So just a little quick run through. I'll probably post Holy Spirit here pretty soon. We did a few weeks ago. Love that song. All right, so there's just a quick rundown of the board. Hope that's helpful. Like I said, it's not complex. There are some great pedals on it. If you have any questions, post them down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. Like I said, I may do a much more in-depth board rundown with Daniel helping me do some of the video work later on, especially if I change out boards to a much bigger board at the church. But yeah, this board honestly gets me pretty much everything that I think that I need. I love it. It's great. All right. Thank you to all those who have subscribed. And hey, if you haven't subscribed and are watching this video, click the subscribe button and join me on this journey. There'll be more tutorial lessons and my favorite solo videos coming up and more church stuff. Yeah, and feel free to ask if there's anything that you would like to see videoed, or a specific lesson of something you want, or anything you have a question about. I'll see if I can work on it. All right, thanks and God bless.